Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to All Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case on George Urban Boulevard. I am Duane Steinell, host of Two Goalies on Mike, joined by my co-host Connor Hurley. Sabres lose 5-4. I guess we could say dramatic fashion, questionable fashion. A lot to talk about, a lot to digest. Connor, initial thoughts?
I think we generally need to discuss the Dougie Hamilton no call, where he shot it out of his own zone, and they discussed for, it seemed like 2 to 3 minutes, and they decided, with no real visual evidence, that the puck hit the glass and deflected out of the zone. And then 10 seconds later, UPL shoots the puck out of his own zone, and the Sabres get a penalty, and the Devils score. I think it was the game winner. Or if not the game winner, then it was to make it 4-3. Cousins scored to make it 4-4. And then and then Howla, I think, got a tip. Yes, exactly. That's what it was. But it felt like that discussion between the refs was so long, to the point that maybe they didn't have conclusive evidence. I'm not sure, but
looked pretty conclusive to me.
Yeah, it looked like it didn't hit the glass. A few of my buddies and I were talking that the Sabres don't get the same calls at home, or at least it seems like they don't get the same calls at home that other teams do. It seems they've been on the short side of a lot of really bad calls this season, and that's significantly impacted a few different games. With that being one of them, of course, they eventually tied the game, and then the Devils come right back down and score with a deflection in front of the net. Really tough position for UPL to be in tonight. I don't necessarily blame him, but I do believe he could have had a few of the goals that were scored on him.
Sure.
Of course, with the deflection in front of the net, the game winner from Howla, you'd like him to be a little bit farther out.
Howla. If you hear me.
I don't have a pronunciation guide in front of me. I'm so sorry. But you'd like him, especially on point shots. Like, for me as a goalie, I'm not an NHL goalie, but it seems like if you challenge a little bit more on those, you reduce the risk of a deflection going in your own net, because you're taught to get out on top of your crease and be as close to the offensive threat as you can to mitigate that risk of a deflection going in. So your body is there to potentially get in the way of that type of deflection. And I felt like he was a little bit deep in his net. He's a big goalie, so he does do that. But I do believe that if you played a little bit more aggressive, he could have prevented that. By no means am I blaming him for the loss, but I do believe the Sabres probably would have won had Eric Comrie not left the game, which is unfortunate for him, unfortunate for the team. Really, really tough break.
Yeah, it sucks too, because like Comrie was kind of getting into his own there, right? Like he was making some big saves. We saw the big glove save. Was it on who was the glove save on? It was
who it was on, but it was
fantastic.
Yeah.
He looked like he was zoning in. Devils are applying a lot of pressure. Their big guns were producing. Their big guns were getting chances. And he, for the most part, was shutting the door. And, he scored 4 goals tonight. You know what I mean? Against a Devils team, they should be good enough to win. I know how great of a season Jack Hughes is having. He had a couple points tonight, right?
I think just one, actually.
Just one? Oh, we kept it to one, huh? That's crazy. So 18 points in 7 games brought the point per game total down.
Not bad.
Couple claps for us. But yeah, I thought Comrie was looking really good in that, and unfortunately, we don't have an update on his health or what happened. I think you'd agree that's probably a knee or a groin, right?
I'd argue the way he reacted, it was a groin.
Yeah.
A knee, especially the movement he had going from his post out. He made a kick save with his right pad, and it felt like such a quick movement early enough in the game that maybe he wasn't exactly warm yet. I know it was in the second period, but early enough in the second period that potentially he just tweaked something. And that can happen. I mean, he's a little bit on the older side. You never know with stretching these days. Of course, these guys are in incredible shape, but certain movements in net, you can tweak something really easily. And the way that he reacted definitely seemed like it was way more serious than just your casual strain. You know what I mean? Like, he was unable to get off the ice. And I saw UPL on the bench immediately grab his helmet. He knew exactly what was happening at that moment. So yeah, I feel like this is going to be a week to week, potentially month to month injury for Eric Comrie. And that leaves the Sabres with Devin Levi, who is coming off likely a groin injury himself. We don't know, but you got to think with the day-to-day designation. And then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who looked good to begin the Senators game, ended pretty shakily to let them back into that game. And then he comes in cold against one of the best offensive teams in the league and doesn't necessarily perform great. So after all the confidence that was inspired by Eric Comrie and UPL to begin the Senators game, the Sabres goaltending situation is now extremely precarious. And it begs the question, especially if there's another injury, you're not bringing Dustin Tokarski up to backstop this team. It begs the question, do you look to make a trade? Because this team is going nowhere if they can't stop the puck. I think we've known that for a long time.
Not wrong.
We've known that for a long time. This team has only gone anywhere when they've been able to stop the puck, i.e. Dominic Hasek and Ryan Miller. But the lack of confidence that they likely have in their situation right now is way worse than they thought it would be, I would say at the moment. So they're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, I know, was it Cooley, goalie down in Rochester? I forget who it was. It might have been Lance Lyasowski from the Buffalo News. He mentioned it looks like we might get to see a debut of that slug helmet sooner than he expected, depending again on how far along Devin is.
Do you really want Cooley coming up from the AHL?
I mean, what do you have? What choice do you have right now?
I know that's the choice, but I'm saying we talked about a trade in the offseason. We talked about a trade at the deadline. They haven't done really anything aside from keep the same guys that they had last season and also place their trust in a 21-year-old rookie who's already hurt after you started him 4 games to begin the season. So Kevin Adams is at a tipping point. He's at an inflection point in terms of the direction of the team. 3-5 going into a game against one of the best teams in the league. So you see how that game goes. If Devin Levi is healthy and he gets on a little bit of a run, great, but you're not going to play him 4 games in a row again. And then you got to see where you are with UPL. I don't feel great about it. I'm going to be honest. I do not feel great about it. And that's coming from someone who's typically optimistic about goaltenders.
Don Granado just updated in the presser. They will not have an update on Eric Comrie until tomorrow. So
a non-update update.
Yes, a non-update update. Fortunately, we have no update for the update for Eric Comrie.
Sweet. So if you're going to break that one down, I imagine that's worse than it is good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know what it is, though. I think
I think that's a groin.
You there?
Was that Star Wars?
I don't know where that came from. Sorry.
Devin Levi's music.
It is.
But that almost feels like a groin pull, not a groin strain. Or not a rupture, because a ruptured groin would be really bad. That's a 4-month injury. So yeah, you see what happens there. but I'm not particularly confident in UPL, and I don't think this.
Well,
I don't
if
think
if Devin is good to go for Sunday, it is Goat Head night, and we know what that means. There it is. Will we finally see him to debut in his Goat Head gear? In the Goat Head jersey.
He honestly,
Colorado Avalanche.
He really needs to against that type of team if he's healthy. If he's not 100%, you don't put him in.
No. I agree. You can't run into the same issues that you're running in and out currently with Eric Comrie. And then you have UPL as your starting goalie. And then
against a team that loves to get up and down the ice. And, Nathan McKinnon can score from anywhere. So
yeah, they're only 2 years removed from winning a Stanley Cup. So
it's really scary. He had a good game against the Avalanche last season, actually. Remember when he went on that West Coast swing and he actually played really, really well at the end of January, won 4 straight games. He's capable of it. And we saw for the first 55 minutes of the Senators game, he's a good goalie when he's on.
Yeah.
But the problem is he's not always on. And he's been very inconsistent.
And I'm not going to speak for UPL. I'm just going to say what I see. I speak to what I observe is once that one shaky goal goes in, like he's one of the more difficult goalies I've seen under the Sabres, where he has trouble shaking off a bad goal. And whereas with Devin, we've seen it in the past. Whether it was in a win or a loss, he doesn't let a bad goal stay with him, and he can, he gets right back into the game, like next shot mentality. Whereas UPL, it's not like that. And again, I'm not going to judge UPL too much on tonight. Like I know we wanted to save there on that point shot, especially, but at the end of the day, that's a tough spot to be put into.
No, and the breakaway, that's a good move by Hala.
Oh yeah,
that's a good move. And then the Jack Hughes shot, which was credited to Timo Meier. I saw Maniac tweeted that it looked like it was going wide and got deflected in either by Meier or another guy in front, potentially even Samuelsson. So that looks like a weird one too. So yeah, 3 somewhat difficult goals, by no means softies.
No.
So I think you take it for what it is. If Devin Levi is not 100%, you can't start him against the best team in the league. And then you go with UPL. In the Goat Heads at home on a Sunday, there's probably going to be 10,000 fans in the building. I hope more. I really, really hope more, especially against a team like the Avalanche. You think that would be a game, especially a Goat Head game, that the fans show up. But I'm absolutely anticipating that building to be half empty.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be half empty, honestly.
Do you think the fact that it's on a Sunday afternoon would inspire more people to go? Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think it'll be half empty.
It's also a football Sunday, though.
Yeah, but the Bills have already played.
That's the thing, though. I don't know. I expect hopefully
the Bills have already played. I just don't think it'll be half empty.
Hopefully more than 15,000.
People love coming to the Goat Head games, and not to mention, people love coming to games where they can see the opposing star players. And
hopefully, if they get more than 15,000, I'll be happy.
I would say probably around 14 and a half. I think. I mean, every Goat Head game they've played in, they've almost played to a sellout crowd.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Sunday afternoon might be the best time for that.
Yeah.
They fly home tonight. They'll practice tomorrow, and then you see what happens. Off the goaltending, I thought the offense except for the third period, they dominated most of the game, especially at 5-on-5. They had most of the good scoring chances. They had a lot of pressure in the offensive zone. Tage's goal was obviously incredible. It seems like he's really gaining his confidence back.
And Tuck, that was a good I mean, granted, it was
Tuck had a much better game too.
Yeah.
Dylan Cousins continues to produce, so that's an encouraging sign. He is just throwing the puck on net and getting dirty goals, and that's kind of what you want from him. Rasmus Dahlin is Rasmus Dahlin. He's got a 7-game point streak now. I think he did have a few tough defensive plays tonight. That pass to Samuelsson that led to the Jesper Bratt goal wasn't great. I do think Samuelsson could have got it. So just a little bit shaky on both of their parts. And the defense, I mean, Connor Clifton, I don't necessarily blame him too much for that. I think he's trying to make a hit. The guy turns, and he happened to catch him.
It's just unfortunate. I think that play is getting called every time.
It's bad luck.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't think he intended to do that.
No. We talked about extensively the Brady Tkachuk, Alex Tuck fight from the other night, where people talk about timing and not being able to control themselves and emotions. That's a situation where I do look at it and I'm like, does he deserve the match penalty? Yes, he does. But do I think he meant to hit Hischier in the head? Absolutely not. It sucks. But in the Brady Tkachuk thing, I think he absolutely knew he was falling and was just trying to get one last swing in and bounce Tuck's head off the ice. But I'm not going to get into that because I could talk about that for an hour.
Totally. You went somewhat viral for that.
I did. Over 1 million impressions. Actually, between 3 different tweets, 2 million impressions. So, pretty stoked about that. Not bad. Not a big deal. We do have, I was asked to talk about this from Matthew David, who's happened to be in one of my Sabres group chats. So I want to bring this one up real quick. And it's a good point, something we should talk about. And I guess it just goes to the point of, how good of a team New Jersey really is. Shots on goal, 40-27. They won every single period, shots wise, except for the second. Face-offs, I mean, we got to start winning, especially defensive zone draws.
Yeah.
We're constantly behind in that every single game. And I mean, you look at
aside from the other night when they did, I think it was the Senators game or the Canadiens, or maybe it was the Islanders game last week. They have had a couple of games where they've won the face-off battle, surprisingly. I do point to those offensive zone draws with a minute left and the goalie pulled. Casey Middlestat was taking the draw, and he went 0 for 3.
Yep.
Is he your best face-off guy?
He usually is, yes.
So that's unfortunate because I don't necessarily think he's the best face-off guy.
No, and it stinks. See, I mean, I don't know what you got to do, man, to figure out, how to get better on the draw. Whether you literally take an hour in a practice and just
I think they do though. They do practice these things. You see reporters tweeting about it. You see specifically guys working to the side. It really just comes down to timing and getting a feel for these refs. Different linesmen have different tendencies, and you need to time it correctly. Sidney Crosby has made a career out of it. Ryan O'Reilly is one of the best in the game still. These guys know exactly what they're doing at the right moment to put themselves in the best position to win the puck back. And sometimes it's not even timing it right. It's getting your stick down, tying them up, and winning the puck back. It's a very nuanced thing. But if you work hard for it and you get your wingers involved, you can win draws. I just don't necessarily think they're working hard enough for it.
Yeah. From Greg here, can this D ever play good in front of their own goalies? I'll answer right now. No. Is almost common how bad they are. How bad they let their. I'm assuming how bad they are in front of their goalies.
I will say this season has been better than last season.
It
has though. It has.
Maybe. What are we talking about? 2% better? Because
no. But the goals are
pretty bad.
Aside from tonight, the goals against are way down. The chances are way down. If you look at Corsi for, Corsi against, all of these statistics that you look at for defensive efficiency, this team is better defensively than they were last year. It's that the offense has, aside from the past 2 games, there has been some regression. I think everybody and their mother knew the Sabres weren't going to score as many goals as they did last season. That's just not possible. So I think it's got to get to a point where they get into a groove where they trust each other, because a lot of the time they have these turnovers in their own zone and it happens so quick because the skill is so good. You saw it with the Devils tonight, that Jesper Bratt goal. Dahlin misses Samuelsson by an inch. he takes the puck away and it's a breakaway and a goal.
Mm-hmm.
You see on the power play with Cousins, the errant pass to Dahlin, Hala gets the puck, goes down a breakaway goal. Like, it can happen so quickly. So turnovers are obviously a big thing, and we talk about puck watching. I still think there is a fair amount of it, but I honestly do believe it's way less than last year.
I'll agree to an extent. I just think it's still probably
it's not good.
No, I mean, exactly. Like what percentage wise are we saying? Like, is it better from last year? Like,
I think it's at least 10% better.
We'll see. I don't know. Like, I still see even Dahlin's been guilty of it, man. Just staring down at pucks. We're still, I'm honest to God, one of the worst teams in the league below our own dots. One of the least physical teams. And to the listener's point, or the viewer's point, like, Clifton, even though Clifton's gone, doesn't mean you can't play physical in front of your own net. They don't tie up bodies. They just don't. They don't. They stand next to them. They stand next to the opponent, but they don't tie guys up and leave guys open right there for rebounds. Like the one goal on Comrie, perfect example. Like, it's just nobody's there to tie the man up.
If Clifton likely is suspended, which feels like might happen.
Oh, you're gonna get your first look at Jacob Bryson this season.
Yeah, who doesn't inspire a lot of confidence defensively.
I would much rather have Riley Stillman in the lineup.
Seems like he's doing all right in Rochester. So,
yeah.
Especially with the quick turnaround Sunday afternoon, I do think we'll probably see Jacob Bryson against the Avalanche on Sunday. And oh boy.
Yeah, from the Tin Man, think coach needs to go. No, I don't think so. His whole staff can kick rocks, but not him.
We know how Duane feels about Matt Ellis.
Yeah. Or are we still not in panic mode yet? We're 3-5 right now, correct?
Not in panic mode.
Not in panic mode, no. I'm more confident in UPL than Comrie. Well, you're going to have to be at this moment because it doesn't look
Comrie's out probably a month.
I would say so. Yeah, see, to your point earlier, he has beaten UPL does have a win against Colorado. This game, and by Devin's early struggles, has made it apparent that choosing to run it back with a 3-goalie system was a mistake. His team deserves a better goaltending situation. I get it. Like, I get it. Devin's like record isn't like good. He's 1-3. At the same time, I wouldn't say it struggles. I would say it was more, at least for the first 3 games, the inability to score. Like
first 5 games.
Yeah. His first 3 starts, he did his job. He gave that team every chance to win. They just couldn't produce. Couldn't buy a goal. And then obviously for about a period and a half, then obviously the wear and tear of starting 4 games in a row started to show. I am fully confident that if Devin Levi is healthy, that you can go right back to him and he's not going to miss a beat. And he's going to be ready to go. Just much like what Eric Comrie looked like to start tonight's game.
I believe that too. I'm still very confident in him, his athletic ability, as we've talked about, his mental preparation. I'm at least somewhat hesitant throwing him immediately back in there against a team like the Avalanche. I think potentially the Flyers next week would be a little bit better of a situation. I think it's a home and away against the Flyers next week. They're not nearly as offensively potent. It's not going to be as run and gun. It's going to be a little bit of an uglier game. We know how they play. We know how they like to muck it up. Whereas the Avalanche game is going to be a lot like tonight. It's going to be up and down the ice. Oh man, can you imagine if we had 3-on-3 tonight?
Oh, it's so much fun.
It would have been.
We should have had 3-on-3 tonight, realistically.
Yeah, it would have been the most entertaining display of hockey ever.
We should have had 3-on-3.
I mean, the game almost felt like a 3-on-3 game in the second period. Like, it was one of the more entertaining games of hockey I've watched in a long time. And that makes me feel a little bit better than I normally would after a loss.
Yep.
So I think you take this, you learn from it, you go against the Avalanche on Sunday, you try to get at least 1 point against one of the best teams in the league. And then you switch your focus to a beatable Flyers team. 2 games next week. So we'll see what happens there, but go-ahead game, hopefully a good Crown Sunday afternoon.
I'm checking because I subscribe to a lot of the beat reporters here in Buffalo and just waiting to see if we have any comments about Levi's status and where he is at in his recovery. As for UPL, he is the least of my concern. The turnover this is from Granado per Mike Harrington. As you would expect, no update on Comrie from Granado. Other than that, we'll find out more tomorrow. As for UPL, he's the least of my concern. The turnovers and inconsistency bothered him. So did the missed call on the puck over the glass. And you saw Donnie was heated. He was heated. When they made that call against Buffalo after they just missed it moments before that, like you don't see Donnie like react that emotionally on the bench. But he was heated.
He was hot.
Yeah, and he right to be. They missed the call.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. As we said, that seemed like a situation where they were over discussing it, overthinking it, and they decided for one reason or another to say that it deflected off the boards with no proof whatsoever. I don't know what the original call was. I don't know what the discussions were. It'd be nice if we could hear these discussions as fans.
We've talked about that in the past.
But yeah, it is an unfortunate bad break that seems to be all too common for the Sabres these days.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Sunday against Colorado. What are you expecting? Do you think they run back the same lineup? Do you think Olofsson? I know they didn't have Benson in tonight's lineup. Do they run back the same lines? Do you see Benson back in? Do you think I didn't really get an update on why he was out, other than they just putting Jostin for him. Olofsson,
that felt like an injury situation again, right?
Yeah,
like he was still recovering day to day. So
I feel like you might be right on that one.
I don't think Olofsson played badly, and I do think he's been a little bit better with Okposo and Girgensons. Strangely enough, I don't think any of us would have expected that, given the type of player he's been in the past. So, yeah, especially same deal with Devin Levi. Like, if Zach Benson's not healthy, or if he's not 100%, don't throw him against one of the best teams in the league. It's just not worth it, especially for such a young player with so much promise and so much ability to help you later in the season when it matters more. Of course, wins matters now. And as we talk about, they cannot fall behind too much too early in the season, because these teams ahead of them are playing really, really well. Detroit especially, who you think that they're going to be trying to keep pace with all year for that last wild card spot.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily think they played a bad game tonight. Of course, the turnovers were bad, but the offensive opportunities were there. They scored 4 goals. I think it was just a lot of unfortunate breaks, obviously with Comrie, obviously with the missed call over the glass. I think they run it back. You're getting more confidence with Alex Tuch and Tage Thompson. Skinner's still getting opportunities, although tonight he didn't have his best game, but he's had a great season. He's producing. Dylan Cousins looks better. JJ Peterka looked amazing tonight. He is the fastest player on the ice every time he hits the ice, which is really saying something in today's NHL. You saw the mic'd up of Peyton Krebs telling him how fast he was. I think everybody knows what level to his game that he has. And you saw it on that first goal. He's got a good shot too. He's got a few really, really nice goals this season, just letting it rip from the high slot.
JJ has been good all over the ice.
And I don't think anybody expected him to be known other than his speed for his wrist shot.
Dude,
this season.
His release is just quick like that. And it's in the net.
So I'm encouraged by him. Jordan Greenway, I thought, had another strong night. Good down low, physical presence. I really loved when Greenway, Tuch, and Thompson were out there together. That is a massive line. That's likely the tallest line in the league.
Yep.
And one of the more physical, aside from Tage, but he doesn't need to be
physical.
You
think that at some point, I thought about it too, kind of near the end, like one last 6 to 5 minutes, like maybe they should throw Tuch, Tage, and Skinner back out there for one shift, see what happens.
Maybe. I think they eventually will.
Yeah.
At some point. Maybe just to get something going and change.
Well, I think the whole point of breaking them up was to get them individually going again. I think you've accomplished that.
Yeah. And maybe that would catch the other team off guard if they weren't prepared for it. So, yeah, you see what happens there, especially given how good they were last season and they had a slow start. But no, I think you roll back the same lineup. These past 2 games have been good against 2 really good teams. Obviously, Ottawa's not playing too well, but I'm encouraged by what I've seen, especially the last 3 games. Obviously, they should have won that Montreal game. And I mean, even go back to the last 4 games, the win against the Islanders. I think everything since the Flames game has been slightly encouraging for this team. Of course, they're 2-2 in their last 4, but they're 3-5. And as we said, you can't judge too early. So you figure
from Nick Alfidi. I'm really excited for Levi too, but I feel like asking to play 50 games or more as a rookie is tough. I feel like having a good 1A, 1B situation would be a great safety net. I agree with you. It's not that I wanted Devin Levi to start the season to play 50 or more games. It's just I felt like that's probably the direction this was heading.
Well, I think we all felt like it was possible, right? Given what we saw at the end of last year. We saw how good he was in those meaningful games, and we saw how good he's been at every single level. But the grind of a regular NHL season is way different than just like the adrenaline of a late season playoff push. So I do think it was a mistake starting him against the Flames, the 4th straight in 4 games in a week. And I think they're going to have to learn from that. He's still a young kid. He's still learning. And I don't think that takes away from any confidence that us as fans or the organization has in him, because he still has the ability. He still has the mental game. He still has all of the confidence in the world in himself. But you do need to be careful. You do need to take this with extreme precaution, because you do not want him suffering an injury like Eric Comrie likely suffered tonight.
From Dylan Baker, ref screwed us big time. Yeah, we discussed that earlier. Again, the Clifton call, I think that's going to happen no matter what player it is. I mean, unless you're Connor McDavid making that hit, then you're probably getting away with maybe a 2-minute penalty.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate. It was deserving of a match penalty. He did slightly leave his feet at the very end. Slightly.
I mean, that felt like a type of NFL situation, right? Like the head-to-head contact that you see all the time these days. Like they don't call it in the NHL nearly as much, but when it happens, as much as Gary Bettman doesn't acknowledge the existence of hockey and concussions to CTE, I think they are trying to crack down on that type of play.
Yeah, agreed. Well, if that was the case, they would have probably suspended Brady Chuck for an extra game for, cracking Alex Tuck's head on bare ice, but that's just me.
But,
yeah, well, no, Dylan, yeah, we do know we knew you were generally probably talking about the delay game, Paul. But yeah, we talked about it earlier too. It was clear as day a missed call. Donnie showed how heated it was when they missed that call, but then called it on was it UPL? It was UPL who cleared the puck.
He shot it straight out. Yeah.
Straight up, yep. Tough. It's tough when you're a goalie to have that happen. You and I both know you're more intending for it to be a kind of a wrist shot. Kind of get under it, just flutters on you and just gets away.
I don't know if I have the arm strength to get it over the glass, but that's just me.
I'm not a great puck handler, but I can get it up the ice if I need to.
Oh, I can. I prefer not to.
Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Buffalo played good enough to win tonight. That's for sure.
Totally. Against
a lot of the analytics probably were on their side tonight. I'm not an analytics guy, so I'm not going to try and dive into that. But they definitely played good enough to win tonight. Unfortunately, they were on the wrong side on the special teams. That match penalty, I think we killed that off, but there was a 4-on-4 to begin it that we got scored on against.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw from the lines. I know we talked about it last time. I haven't even hated Okposo, Olofsson, and Gergensons.
I think since we kind of acknowledged the elephant in the room of Okposo being slightly past, not even slightly past, way past his prime, and potentially even too slow for today's game after the Montreal game, I think he has picked up his game a little bit. Yeah. I do think that the Senators game and also this game, he's played a little bit better. Gergensons is him. Like, he will always be him until he doesn't, not him like Stephon Diggs him. Like, he is who he is. He plays a relatively sound defensive game. he gets his chances. He had a breakaway tonight. Unfortunately, he does not have the skill to consistently score on breakaways. But I don't mind Zemgus Girgensons at all. I think any team in the league would happily put Zemgus Girgensons on their fourth line, plug and play him every night, and never have to worry about him. So that's what he is at this point, and he's the longest tenured guy on the team. He's an assistant captain. He's fine. I do believe we're going to run to a point where Okposo is going to do more harm than good. I really do believe that.
Well, yeah, with more games played, it's an 82-game season. Like he's old. I would say old. Like what's that movie? Big Daddy. He's old. He's so old. Like, old.
Yeah.
Old loose skin and old balls. Gross. But anyways, yeah. I mean, I kind of always thought at the beginning of the season that you have to give that guy veterans days off, even for games. Like, you can't expect that guy to even play 70 games this season. Like, come on.
I mean, you see it all the time in the NBA with some of the older guys, load management. Give them a night off every now and then.
Yes.
That's a good point, Dylan. The power play looks bad.
Very, very bad. I wonder who's in charge of that. Do you know any idea, Connor?
Is it Matt Ellis?
I want to say it might be Matt Ellis. It might be Matt Ellis. Do I have a hand in that?
Matt Ellis.
I'm actually going to look this up right now.
Capital L-is.
Sabres.
He wasn't a great player.
Teams coach. There's Mike Bales, Jason Christie.
Mike Bales.
Whatever the hell that is.
Mike Bales is the goalie coach.
Well, I know that. I have no idea who this Marty Wilford. Yeah, I doesn't really specify who would run the power play. I don't know who Jason Christie is, but we all know who Matt Ellis is. He never played on a power play in the NHL.
Jason Christie of the Sacramento Kings.
What?
Former NBA great Jason Christie.
Yeah, he has to be the same guy, right? Has to be.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he's got some.
You never know. So much crossover between.
I could be wrong. That might not even be his first name. But yeah, there's no creativity.
No.
There's of course Dahlin is a good quarterback, but they're not getting it to Tage the way they did last season on that left bumper, the left hash. The bumper that they talked about in preseason that we saw Zach Benson do really well with has been largely ineffective. It doesn't seem like they're getting enough guys in front, as we saw in the Montreal game. Of course, it worked in the Ottawa game, and they had a few dirty goals, which was really, really nice to see. But for the most part, it just feels very stagnant and lacking creativity and lacking ability to create chances, which is what the power play is for.
This is a good comment. You're gonna laugh.
We did hire a soccer coach here. Freddie Krueger. It's that time of year. It's spooky season. Yeah, they need to some work on the power play for sure. I will say, Mr. Brightside, the penalty kill looks great.
Yes, it does.
Jordan Greenway. Who thought that Tage Thompson would be a first-line penalty killer?
He's doing everything.
He's, without the production that we've seen from him in recent years so far, he is a candidate for MVP so far with the amount of effort that he's put in, the shots on goal. Obviously only 2 tonight, but the goal was incredible. And he's been way better defensively than he was in the past. And I think Jordan Greenway has helped him accomplish that.
If you want to even be in the conversation to win the Hart Trophy, you gotta.
No, Sabres MVP.
Yeah, you gotta get
team MVP.
Of the team, yes, but you have to get to the playoffs. No. I mean, Dahlin is, aside from a couple defensive errors tonight, he's squarely putting himself in early Norris conversation. I agree. Yes, 100%.
Which is really, really cool.
Finally got his first goal of the season tonight.
Yeah, nice shot. And you need more of that on the power play. Unfortunately, at the end of the game, another situation where he put his head down and just fired it into shin pads. Of all people, Jack Hughes secured the game-winning block. Crazy that Jack Hughes blocked his shot to end the game.
Dude, Jack Hughes, you want to talk about early candidates?
He could be the MVP.
I would say, if you want to talk about early candidates to be MVP, Jack Hughes.
He's the clear leader.
18 points in 7 games. If he only had one tonight, like you said, he had one tonight. It'd be Jack Hughes.
No, he's the clear favorite.
Yeah, it's like the things that guy does with the puck, and like to your point, just he's willing to eat pucks to the shins. Like I just, I know there was some skepticism, or how you were say the name. Say the word
skepticism.
Yes, skepticism. His rookie year and even the following year about how good is this guy really?
I mean, he was 18 years old
and then 99 points last year, and
he's 5'10", 190 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah,
and he was 18 years old. You can't expect a guy to come in and dominate the NHL in his first.
No,
year.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
But he's even talked about this offseason what he did to gain more speed. I was looking at some of the puck tracking stats that the NHL has this season. His speed bursts are as significant as anyone in the league this year. So not only does he have the skill and the vision and the playmaking, he's one of the fastest guys in the league now, which is scary.
Very scary. Sabres scores tonight. Cousins, Dahlin, Paterka, and Thompson with Buffalo's 4 goals. Assists going to an assist to Cousins, assist to Dahlin. Assists went to Greenway, Jost, Okposo, Power, Samuelson, Skinner, and Tuck on the beautiful Tage Thompson goal. And then before he went out of the game hurt, Comrie had 16 saves on 18 shots, and then Luukkonen in relief, 18 saves on 21 shots. I want to talk about Vitek Vanacek for a second, because even with his time in Washington, he always seems to have Buffalo's number, and it drives me nuts. Like, it doesn't matter what team this guy plays for, he has their number.
He's the COVID year nemesis.
Yes. Dude, it was nuts. Like, the guy just had our number. He's been
we only played the same teams in our division, and he started almost every single game we played against the Capitals.
Yep.
It's tough.
Yes. Eric Holla with 2 goals tonight for the Devils. And then Bratt, Holtz, and Jack. I mean, they're saying Jack Hughes has that goal now on NHL.com. So, again, 1 point being a goal. Timo Meier with an assist. McLeod with an assist. Marino with an assist. Ball with an assist. And Luke Hughes with two helpers. And then Vitek Vanacek, 23 saves and 27 shots. And how about the Mike moment from the officials tonight?
So funny. You already got the penalty. Get the fuck out of here.
He's like, what is it? He goes, you're getting the effing power play. You're getting the power play. Get the F out of here is what he said. I was like, and there was one more effing right before that. He says, you fuck, and then he stopped himself.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you, if you watch any Pat McAfee lately, his hockey is awesome. So good. I made sure I tagged him in that because I did kind of sort of make it onto the Pat McAfee show the day after the Alex Tuck Gordie Howe hat-trick game. Anybody want to look? My tweet essentially made it onto Pat's show.
The screenshot of his.
No. Those were pictures that I took in front of my TV.
Of his.
Yes. I took both. Those were both my pictures that I took in front of my TV.
Did he credit you?
I did not get any credit, Pat. I'm
That's
pretty disappointed.
Hey,
because if you look if you look at those pictures and you look at my original tweet, those are 1,000%.
I'm in the biz. I've got some connections. I'll reach out to him and ask for some retroactive credit.
Yes, please. I appreciate it. But I made sure that I did the same thing tonight. We're on the good old DVR, or if you want to take it back to the Tropic Thunder, TiVo. If you want to call it TiVo, was that what they called the original DVR?
Something like that.
Rewound it and caught it almost live time, and posted it and tagged him. So he has to give me credit this time around if he does bring it up on the Hockey is Awesome segment on his show, which I'm sure he will bring this up because he did dedicate like a good minute just to the referees. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, Yeah, I hope he gives you credit too. You deserve it.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm happy he's acknowledging the game, growing the game. I think he's probably got some new fans into it, especially in like Indiana. So yeah, I am appreciative of his commitment to the bit.
Yes. Rakeen, we already addressed that. Yeah, we
Yes.
do. Depending on how long Devin's going to be out, we'll see.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, probably yes.
Probably yes. Short answer, yes. Long, yes, probably. Most likely.
They've had a goalie issue since Ryan Miller left.
Last question we'll take, and then we're going to wrap up. Thoughts on Sabres' attendance problem. My thoughts are start winning hockey games.
Yeah, I've got some friends in Buffalo, and they've been there since high school, and they had season tickets. They got rid of them, obviously, in the tough years. And at this point, they are only going to support the team. They're only going to go to games, which from every perspective is a subpar experience throughout the league.
Yep.
I don't care that much. I'll go to the game. I'll get a beer. I'll sit in the shitty seats that they have, and it doesn't matter to me. But a lot of people are frustrated, and they want a winning product. You saw opening night, packed house. Without a doubt, a sellout, 19,030 people. And the atmosphere was incredible. Obviously, we were honoring RJ, so that helped. The Rangers in town. It was a Bill Sunday Night Football weekend.
Yep.
Packed house. And I would say it was 90% to 10% Sabres to Rangers fans.
Correct.
That was really, really cool to see, and I was happy to be there for that. But if you continue to lose big games, especially with the expectations the team had this season, it's going to be tough to get the support of the fans.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. Plus, it is, especially in the 100 level, it is expensive to go to these games.
It is, man. And then with the way the economy is, it's you don't blame people for not going to games, man.
I flew home and I paid $140 a seat for me and my parents to go to the home opener. And I was willing to pay that because of the experience. And I'm glad that I did. But not everybody's willing to do that, especially if you live in Buffalo and you've been going to these games and supporting the team for as many years as you have. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to blame the fans for the attendance problem. The team's got to start winning the games. The organization needs to put a better product out there and also a better fan game day experience. Point blank, period.
So another comment, and I don't know if I should take this personally or not, because I'm 36. You look like you're 14 now with a beard now that you cut your hair.
Is he talking? Are they talking about me?
I think.
There's got to be talking about me.
Maybe. It says, Duane, you look.
Oh, wow.
I look like I'm 14.
Well,
out of beard, sure. I could say
to be
I
fair,
would probably get ID'd if I shaved my beard. Yeah.
To be fair, I look 10 years younger after shaving my beard and my hair. So it happens. And also, that's a compliment.
Yep. Gar, always thankful for you whenever you pop in. And thank you for your support. And then Sabres play at home like their parents are watching their first.
Honestly, that is so true.
Literally. Well, unless they're
wearing
the goat head jersey.
Except when they're wearing the goat heads, and hopefully, eventually, that jersey behind me.
My favorite, man. I love the goat head, but I love that jersey too. I got a Hashtag one hanging in the closet right now. So, but any final thoughts, Earls, before we get out of here?
Good game. Unfortunate bounces, unfortunate calls. I'm encouraged. I'm optimistic, especially the way they've played in their last 3 to 4.
How can you not be optimistic with the way they beat Ottawa?
Yeah. No, and obviously it's Islanders, Canadians, Senators, Devils. I think they've played well in all 4 games. They've deserved to win all 4 games. So
obviously you can't control injuries, but I think if you have Devin Levi in that tonight, you win.
If you have Eric Comrie in that tonight, you win.
Well, yes, but you don't. Obviously, I think Eric's probably gone for the foreseeable future. If Devin would have been ready to go tonight, I think you would have won. So.
Yeah, likely. And then, as we said, you only play Devin Levi if he's 100% healthy on Sunday morning. You only play Zach Benson if he's 100% healthy on Sunday morning. And if not, you throw that same lineup back out there. UPL as the starter, Levi as the backup, I'd imagine.
Uh-huh.
And then you try to win a game against one of the best teams in the league. It's a goat head game. They are 11-1-1 in the goat heads. The only regulation loss coming on a weird Monday night this past January against the Flyers where they got shut out somehow.
Yeah.
I forget what the overtime loss was.
I can't remember myself, honestly.
Yeah, but they seem to play better in those. They seem to have more energy, especially at home. As Darlene says, they feel evil.
Yep.
So I think you can be optimistic going into Sunday, and hopefully they play well and get the win.
Yeah. I agree with most of those points. Hopefully Devin's ready to go and he's 100%. If not, we're probably waiting until the Philadelphia back-to-back to see him. I hope Benson's good to go because I think he adds something dynamic to this lineup that we just don't have in really any other player. And we're just going to be one more game closer to getting Jack Quinn back whenever, that eventually is. Because he's definitely missed on the power play for sure. I can't stress that enough. But seeing how good JJ Peterka is playing right now makes me extremely excited for when he does eventually get back because them two together, their rookie year was fantastic. Getting Peterka to make this jump to the next level, what you expect Jack Quinn to bring to the table. Super excited for that. And, one more week closer to figuring out where the hell Pat Kane's going to sign. So,
yeah. Well, I would argue likely not the Sabres at this point, but who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I last time it was reported, Buffalo was still allegedly top of the list. So we'll see.
But I think that, as we said last time, I think that would do wonders for the middle six and the bottom six. So
that'll do wonder for the middle six, the bottom six, and attendance for at least 10 games.
That first game, for sure.
For sure, that first game, yes. But with that said, this has been another installment of All Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case on George Urban Boulevard. Let them know two boys from two goalies, one mic sent to you. I am Duane for Connor Hurley. We will talk to you on Sunday. You guys have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Go Bills, go Sabres.